Hello, welcome everybody. We've been talking a lot about different technologies today, but what's behind the technology is always a question: why? Why do we need it? Why do we need innovation? Why do we need all those fancy technologies? And later on, if we have it, how to implement it. And today I'd like to convince you that there is no move forward without innovation, and that it's not a choice, but this is a necessity, and there is very concrete things that we should work on together. And I hope that later on you'll catch up with me, with Michał Rumiński from our venture capital, or my colleagues from R&D to work together on solving some key issues. And what are the key issues today? I think most of you, or I hope, read last UN report that 1 million of species is dying, and with global warming has a really strong impact on the world we're living. And I'm from the industry that contributes to that negative change, but we're doing a lot to avoid it. And where we are today we are in a system when we've got coal or gas power plants. They're producing power, sending it through high voltage grid, medium voltage grid, and then you turn off the light at your house, you go to the hospital, and everything is up and running because energy is there. Is it a good system? Well, it's been working well for the last 100 years. The key problem is that it is emitting a lot of CO2, and for the moment we have no solution what to do with that. And there are some things that change the energy system, change the way we think about how the energy should be produced. And those key trends of last years are, first of all, our awareness of the ecology. The second is democratization. Democratization is an interesting one because with the development of social media and with the development of the technology, everybody can have the PV on the rooftop. Now people got interested in the energy sector. Imagine 20 years ago do you know anybody who 20 years ago would like to discuss the issues of the power plants or the lines? No, nobody cared. But it really changed. Now people want to be environmentally aware. They want to have their own production. They don't want to have the incumbents anymore telling them what to do. That kind of a challenge for us. And the last big trend, which is a trend and an enabler, is digitalization. Digitalization made you aware, made everybody able to exchange on social media, and also digitalization made possible a lot of things that were not possible before. Integration of renewable assets, predictive maintenance, and so on. It changed the way our modern world looks, and it changes the way the energy sector works. So what could be a future energy system? What are we looking for? We're looking for the system which is no longer based on CO2 emitting units. We are looking at the system that is self-sustainable, that is based on the hundreds of thousands of small producing units, that is able to balance itself. Then that is, of course, neutral to the environment. Can we do it? I'm not Barack Obama, and unfortunately, we cannot. Today, we do not have technologies to make it happen. We have the technologies to put a PV on your rooftop, but we cannot make it work during the night. We can put a lot of wind farms here and there, but we cannot make it work when the wind is not blowing. And we can implement any new technology you want to coal-fired units, and it will be still emitting CO2. So shall we accept that we can't do anything about changing the system? Of course not. And here's the role of innovation. And here is the role for all of us to develop this new world. Because can we develop it? I believe we can. And when we look on what we need to do that, through the perspective of those trends that I was talking before, in terms of democratization, if everybody wants and if it is efficient to produce locally, then we need not only efficient local production units, but we need also an ability to manage a home or a city or a part of the city as a separate energy system with its own real or virtual storage, with its own management capacity. In the future, it will no longer be large companies or transmission system operators to solely manage the grid. We have to move that responsibility lower. In terms of ecology, it's first of all CO2. For the years to come, there will be no big solution for storing energy. So the most important is the capture of the CO2. And in terms of digitalization, if you want to make the system work, you need a IT backbone that is able to manage hundreds of thousands of units that are at the same time producing and consuming. That's an immensely big challenge and also very big opportunity to create virtual energy storage from our own houses, companies, and cities. And all of that comes down to reliability. Because just asking a question, anybody is willing to give up availability of energy for the sake it's clean? Or everybody is sleeping? Or you still prefer to have energy 24/7? So there are some key technologies in each of these areas, and I assure you I won't discuss it now, but I'd like to invite you to the TAURON website. We've got our strategic agenda, which explains which are the biggest challenges we face, and we invite you, your friends, to solve it together with us. If you don't believe us, go to International Energy Agency. They have a list of critical, I think, 20 technologies, which is basically more or less in line with our list. Ours is a little bit more operational. They're a little bit more theoretical, looking far into the future. And here you find something that we could work on together. And then you might ask how we should work on it and why to work with us, because we've invested a lot in understanding how to build a system that can really bring innovation. And there's basically two words that gives an answer, which is an open innovation. I believe that we cannot solve these issues only in utilities. Suppliers of appliances also will not solve it. We'll have to solve it together. So we have an open organization with clear targets and tools to make innovation happen and to work both with large corporates, like in Wrocław, we work on smart city, or with startups in one of our acceleration programs. But before you come to us, please think about one important factor. One important factor that can make it happen. That is probably for me, as a guy from the business, the single biggest success factor. Think about business model. If you would like to change the world, make a lot of money, and contribute to the change of the world, think about it, how your technology can be implemented and to create a business model that is sustainable and produce value for you, for us, and for a customer. Technology itself is only a partial solution. Technology with a business model is the way to the future. Thank you very much.